Hello and welcome to Spirit of Nature Art and part 2 of the Enchanted Garden altered book, lap book, flippy flappy folio thingy. I think that's what we're going to call it. So last time we made the base, as you can see here, and today we get to start to use the amazing art of Rachel Tribble.
So here we are. I want to work on the first page in our wonderful, I think I'm going to call this the Enchanted Garden journal. And I have been rummaging through the box that Rachel sent through to me, and oh my gosh, look at these beautiful, beautiful dragonflies. And I think these guys are going to become the first page that I do. So the idea is, let's open our lap book. I'm going to work on this page here. And the idea is that we are going to have these guys kind of being flippy flappy, little, obviously not this size. I'm going to be cutting them down. I'm going to be working on these quite a bit. So they're not going to be going in here kind of exactly as they are. I'm going to be doing some cutting out and fiddling and kind of getting them looking quite different. But the idea is that when I'm finished with them, I'm going to have 4 pockets that will flip, 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 and then we'll have a page here that we'll do something with, not quite sure yet. But that's the idea. We're going to have these 4 beautiful pockets using these wonderful dragonfly paintings. These are cards from Rachel, so these are already on really nice cardstock. So yeah, let's get started.
Now, these beautiful cards and all the rest of the artwork that I am using in this project has been sent to me by the amazing Rachel Tribble, one of my favourite artists. And Rachel and I have got quite excited looking at this project and seeing how it is starting to come out. So Rachel has done a fantastic thing. If you go to Rachel's website or Rachel's Etsy store, what you'll find is that there are Enchanted Garden packs, so that you can buy the packs of the cards that I am using in this project so that you can follow along too. So thanks, Rachel. I think that's just fantastic. So here I am just deciding what I want to do with these beautiful cards. I am going to cut that dragonfly out. I want a kind of peekaboo sort of effect. These are going to be pockets. So I'm going to cut the dragonfly out. And then I'm going to cut it out again. You'll see in a minute. I'll let you watch the process and you'll understand. So now I've cut my dragonfly out, I'm just distressing these edges here. I want this to feel a little less like I've cut it with a craft knife, less perfect. So I'm just using my scissors, or you can use a specific distressing tool just to go around and just distress those edges and make them a little bit more aged. And so this is what I mean by the sort of peekaboo effect. So I'm going to place a piece of, that's a bit of an old dictionary page, and then I'm going to cut the more detailed version of that dragonfly out so that you can see some of the text between the frame and the dragonfly. And just using a normal nail file here, just to add a little bit of distressing to the background there. These cards have got a slight gloss coating to them, so it just kind of adds that extra kind of bit of detail this is all about being an enchanted garden, so I want it to feel like it's been outside. And now you can see the effect. I was looking for that kind of peekaboo effect. And I thought with these beautiful colours, I really wanted to use gold as an accent. So I've got my gold embossing powder and my embossing pen, and I'm about to go to town with embossing. Okay, so I'm going to emboss all of that kind of raggedy edge that I've done there, and I'm also going to emboss around the edge of the dragonfly as well. So on this piece here, I'm looking for a kind of thicker, bolder kind of gold, but on the actual dragonfly, much more delicate, kind of finer edge. So I'll let you see how that turns out. So I just want to take the white, the stark whiteness off the edge of that dictionary page there, just using some tea dye Oxide ink, and then just kind of looking at how that looks. I want it to be a little bit squarer, so I'm just cutting a small amount off both sides just to keep it even, just to give me a little bit more room inside the lap book as well when I'm folding and fitting these in. Now don't throw away those cut-offs. Those cut-offs will be used. I'm going to use every last little scrap that Rachel has sent to me. And now just using HiTack glue just to get this down onto that dictionary page. Now when I was playing with sticking down the dragonfly there, I decided I wanted its wings to kind of stand out a little bit. I wanted that sense that it was flying off the page. So I've got my little foam pads here, and I'm just putting them down the edge of the wing there, and I just want to make it a double thickness on that top one so that it really starts to look like it's lifting off the page. Doing that on both sides. They're fiddly little things, but the effect's worth it. I have also added some glue onto those little foam pads as well, just to make sure everything sticks down to that page below. Just making sure I've got that central. I'm really happy with how that's looking. Now I want this to be a pocket, so I'm just creating the back of that pocket now. So it's just a bit of craft cardstock here, and I'm literally just drawing around this, and I'm making a little mark there, another sort of like, I don't know, half a centimetre further along, so that I can create the little flap to be able to attach it to the page, and just popping a little notch mark in as well. And then time to trim this cardstock. So you'll see I'm going to trim it at that second mark there. So it's slightly, a little bit longer than it needs to be. And I will use my scoring tool to score along that line there. And that then just creates the little flap so that I can stick it to the page. I'm going to emboss around the edge as well. So all around the edge of that is going to get embossed with that lovely gold as well, so that it all starts to come together. So there, just that touch of gold around the edge. So now I want to create a journaling spot on the back of this pocket because it's going to flap out, so you'll be able to see it. So it's the perfect place to hide a little journaling spot. So I've just got a bit of tea dye paper here. And again, you'll see I literally just drew around the pocket there just to get the size that I needed. And that's going to be the base of my journaling spot there. I just want to add a little bit of detail to it. So that's the dictionary out again, so I just want to kind of pull everything together using the same materials. And this, of course, is the inside of the book before we gutted it. So I'm just going to pick a page from here and use that as well to add a little bit of detail to that journaling spot. And I want this to feel old and rough and torn. So I'm purposefully not being precise. Just edging these two with a bit of Vintage Photo Distress Oxide, just so they stand out. And again, just a little bit of tea dye on them just to kind of take the harsh whiteness off and help it to fade into that same tea dye bit of paper at the back. And these papers are quite thin, so I'm just using a normal glue stick just to stick them in place. There we go. Happy with how that's coming together. And now I'm going to bring back in those little, do you remember those bits that I cut off the side just to make the size a bit smaller? Well, I've kept those pieces, and I was just having a bit of a look at the different colours and which was going to go which, but I've decided to keep the same colour with the same card. And I'm just bringing in my Versmark ink pad, bringing back that gold embossing powder. I've got a feeling I'm going to use a lot of that on this project, and my little typeset stamps This is just a really cheap little set that I got off eBay. So I'm just going to stamp my sentiment using the Versmark embossing ink. And pouring on the embossing powder, giving it a little tap to get rid of any excess. I find that's really helpful, especially if I'm doing fine things like lettering. And then heat setting that. I love this embossing powder, it's such a beautiful gold. So not quite sure where I'm going to put it yet, just playing around with it, but you get the idea. Just cutting that down to size. And I'm just giving this a very small rough up. I'm not making this as rough as I did the inside of the dragonfly. I'm just making just going over it a very, very small amount. I just don't want it looking quite as crisp and neatly cut as it was. And then back with the embossing pad. This time, because it's straight edge, it's so much easier just to dab it along like that. Adding the embossing powder. And then heat setting it without burning my fingers. That's the idea anyway. And then just going in and doing that last edge. There's no way I'd be able to do it all in one go without getting finger marks. Now one last little addition, another little cut off here, that last piece of card there. I'm just folding it in half, and then I'm getting my crocodile here just to punch a hole as centrally as I can. I'm going to put an eyelet in there. Of course I'm choosing gold to match the rest of the project. So you can see those little legs are still separate, so I can slide those on over the pocket there, so it makes like a little tab. And yeah, did I mention I was going to use gold embossing on this project? I'm going to do the same effect on this teeny tiny little tab here, because I just want it to have that really lovely feeling that this is all something a little bit kind of magical, mystical. Those lovely flashes of gold you get when you see the dragonflies and butterflies out in the garden. So I've done the same thing. I've embossed all the way around the edge of it on both sides, because this will be visible on both sides. And I'm just taking a little bit of sari ribbon here, just in the natural colour. I like to get like a batch of the natural colour, because then I can dye it the colour I want with my distress inks. So I've picked raspberry here because it matches this card, and then once it's all covered, just quickly drying it off mostly. And then I'm just going to loop that through the eyelet. And when I have found the midpoint, I'm just going to open those legs, pop a little bit of glue on both sides, and then just slide that into position. And it just creates a really cute little tab. And I like having that bit of sari ribbon on there, because it just means you can use the ribbon as the opener. And whilst I've got the glue out, and before I lose it, I'm going to stick my little sentiment on as well. I'm so happy with how this pocket has turned out. It's a nice big pocket as well, so we'll be able to make some lovely tags to go inside it too. And we've already got a journaling space on the back as well, which is really nice. And here is the whole set. So I have done exactly the same thing to all 4 of the Dragonfly cards from Rachel's set. And I just think they look amazing. I love the colours. It's like jewels with those beautiful bright colours and those touches of gold. And this is the page that they are going to go on here. So they are going to go like this. So that they flap out like this, revealing the page beneath, which of course is going to be the next project. So this is where we're at. I've just temporarily stuck them in with washi tape so we can see how they are sitting on the page and how they're going to work. I don't want to sit them down quite yet because it's going to have something to do with that page that's revealed underneath. So that's the project we're going to be doing in the next episode. So come back and have a look and see what we do there. But again, a massive, massive thank you to Rachel for sending these beautiful cards. And I will put the link to her Etsy store below and her website so that you can go and buy these packs if you want to create along with me as well. But I will see you for episode 3 very soon.